Ray Farmia James. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Gary's Podcast, which this is our third great episode, and I'm your host Gary Sarwar, and we're coming to you inside this beautiful radio station, inside this, it's music, inside this beautiful radio station, Let's Radio, inside this beautiful campus of PCC College, and as I tell my guys raised by ABC7, it's a hot day. Hot. This week it was hot and hungry. Like at the same time, cooler temperatures will be back next week, but several Wednesday kickers. All right, back to you, Gary. ABC7. All right, Wednesday. All right, get you guys ready. See you tonight, 5, 6, 11. As I'm recording this podcast at the same time, I've been joined by my people coach, Michelle. Michelle, happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday, David. Thank you for having me.
And today we have two amazing guests, especially they represent EOPS and plus they make their first appearance on Gary's Podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Gary's Podcast for the first time, my EOPS girls, Joanna Martinez and Mari Alvarez. Mari, welcome to Gary's Podcast.
Woo! Yay! Thank you for having us, David.
And I've been working on that for a week, and plus also, we're so happy to have you speak during Women's History Month, especially happy Women's History Month to you, Mari Joanna, including you, Michelle, and to James. I want to give a quick shout to my girl Tina from the Women to Women Club here at PCC, especially. I will give a shout to her, especially all the best women out there. Okay, now we got said, so Mari Joanna, are you guys ready for the topic? Question while I put both of you guys on the hot seat.
Yes.
All right, so your first topic is your PCC careers. And your first question is, how did you get your start as academic counselors? I'll start with you, Mari, and then Joanna.
Yeah. So this is our first year as counselors with EOPS. But our start at PCC, for me, it was as a success coach. 2 years ago, this is my third year at PCC. So my very first year at PCC, I was a success coach for completion students. So it's typically students that are in their second and third year. And then last year I was one of our EOPS success coaches, and then transitioned over to being an EOPS counselor. So that's how I started.
And you, Joanna?
Yes. So yes, as Mari mentioned, so it's my first year as a counselor in the world, but I started here at PCC my third year too. So I started also as a success coach. So I started with our EOPS team first, so I was a success coach for them, and then I transitioned to be the foster youth success coach, and now this year I'm the EOPS and then the STARS counselor.
And what is your favorite milestones within this year as a counselor for EOPS?
Ooh, that's a great question. For me, one of the things that sticks out is some of the students that I would meet with as a coach last year in EOPS, I'm meeting now as a counselor. So I would meet with them in their first year. Now, for some of them, this is their final year and they're transferring and they're getting their transfer acceptances, and we're having different conversations than we had in the past. In the past, the first initial conversations were, what careers do I want to pursue? Where am I even going to transfer? And now it's a different conversation. So that's been one of the best milestones, I think, is seeing that change in them from their first year to now being their last year.
Yeah, I would agree with Mari. I think being able to see students when we were success coaches, seeing them, helping them, it was a lot of not the ed plans, a lot of checking in, how are you doing? And now that we're counselors, it's full circle. We're okay, now we can help you with academics, help you with transfer. And so it's a full circle moment because when we were success coaches, we were also in our grad program. So we were students alongside them, different capacity, but we were still students. And now it's a full circle moment. We're oh my God, I'm how are it's just a lot of just full circle, being able to help students and continue helping students and then seeing them reach their end goal.
That's how I first met you guys. Especially you guys first got success coach, and then later you became counseling, and especially I gave my points when you Mari Joanna. So yeah, you're actually correct. This is now full circle moment. And my first friend, he also agrees too. Yes, David, I agree too. Hi, Mari Joanna. Yes, I'm David Spears, and I also agree with both of you guys, especially full circle moment. Yay! All right, back to you, David. All right, get it for her. before he hijacks my podcast. All right, anyway, all right, your second question, Mari Joanna, is can you tell us how did both you end up at PCC? I mean, yes, can you tell us how did both you end up in PCC? I'll start with Joanna.
Yes. So for me, I think it's going back to the success coach role, because during that time when I first started here, I was in my grad school program and I was doing internships, and I was like, oh, I want to get as much experience working with different student populations, and PCC was getting success coaches, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And then that's how I entered here, just having that internship experience here. And I think I've loved it so much, and I think the PCC culture, campus, that, I've continued to be here. So I'm very grateful for like that experience and how that's led to today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Similar to, I found out about the success coach opportunity during our grad program. For me, it was also, I attribute like even just coming across PCC and success coaching in general, because the Ernesto was somebody that worked here for a really long time. He is, at the time, supervised all of the coaches and was one of the folks in charge of like onboarding and hiring coaches. He was a part of our program. So he was a year above us when we started. So our first year was his last year in the program, and he talked really highly about PCC. And I think that really inspired me, just like looking into what being a success coach was, the campus, because I also we both live pretty far from Pasadena. Right. And so coming across that, I think, was coming across the opportunity, and PCC as a whole was primarily through word of mouth from one of the people that was in our program.
And do you guys want to explain a little bit of like the resources you guys have for students here?
Yes, that's a great question. Do you want to start?
Yeah, so for EOPS, like for our program, in general, like a lot of our students, they get access to textbook assistance. So through a textbook voucher, we also help with transportation, also groceries. So we give them vendor cards, students that have the opportunity. We also, pretty much any support that we can support students with, we try to provide that. So if students are maybe going through like an emergency and need assistance, we try to help the best we can. I know for our foster youth department too, I work primarily with our stars, but we also have our Next Up program, which is our other foster youth program, which also both provide like textbook assistance and then just assistance in general with what students need and have at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Mari. I'm going to cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just exactly what Joanna said. And beyond the program offering academic support, like Joanna mentioned, we really try to support students holistically in so many ways, beyond being a student and helping you inside of the classroom, what it looks like for you outside of the classroom. So financial support, social emotional support, community building, workshops, events, for you to meet our staff, our faculty, and also other students, and really creating a comfortable space on campus.
Nice. And while we're going back to foster, I want to give a quick shout out to our girl, Skipper Fernandez, especially as well everybody and David Gomez who work here on the podcast back in the third season, especially girl amazing people. All right, now your third question, my Joanna, is how long you guys been working in PCC? I'll start when you might.
Yeah, this is my third year at PCC. First 2 years as a success coach. This year, so starting fall, as a counselor. And also this past fall semester, apart from being a counselor, also teaching College 1. So counselor / instructor. So this is my third year.
Yes. Also same. So third year here at PCC, 2 years as a success coach, and then this year as a EOPS, and then the STARS counselor, and then also one of the College 1 instructors here on campus.
Oh my gosh. And what is your guys' what sparked the interest in wanting to be a counselor, like personally? Like, because that's a hard task to do, you're just like caring for everyone and trying to help them in every way possible. Like, what inspired that?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
So she's bringing questions. I love it. Go ahead.
I think for me, I think it kind of stems back to my own journey. So I went straight to UC Irvine after high school. However, I went in as a bio major. So my goal was I wanted to be a doctor. And I think I want to preface, I'm also first gen, come from immigrant parents. And so I think growing up, that was really instilled in me, oh, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, all of these big, careers. And I think when I went to college, I think I had to really take a step back and realize this wasn't something I wanted to do, but I was kind of following someone else's path. And so I was I want to do something that I'm more passionate. And for me, it was I switched over to sociology in my second year in college. And then I worked a lot with our, it was called the UCI EAOP program, so the Early Academic Outreach Program, where I work with high school students. And I really enjoyed that part of just being in the education field. And so then I took in education as a double major my fourth year in college, and I ended up staying a fifth year to finish my double major. And although it was not the traditional pathway, staying that fifth year, it was something that I was passionate about. And I think after I just finished my bachelor's, I think I took a gap year after college, because then I had to figure out, what do I want to do? I always knew I wanted to do something in education. I just didn't know in what capacity. I was maybe I want to go to admin, until I had one of my mentors tell me about well, why don't you do counseling? Counseling, is a good, I think a good balance between being in education, but you're also working with students directly. And so I think that's kind of where it kind of all sparked, and was this will be it puts two and two together. And so I think for me, that's kind of where I found my passion. And then doing the internships with my grad school program, being able to work with different populations, I just enjoyed it, enjoyed working with college students. I'd worked so much with high school students. And I'm helping them apply to colleges, but I don't know what happens to them once they're in college. And so I wanted to be on that side, okay, let's help you once you're in college, right? And to make sure you get your degree, make sure you reach your goals. And so I think that's what led for me to be a counselor. It's just being able to be a mentor to someone. And I think coming in as a first gen, not a lot of students have a support system that may help them or guide them through that process. So if I can help in one way, in helping them make something that might seem intimidating achievable, I think that for me it's that means a lot to me.
Well, that's would be hard to follow up.
Hard to follow.
Similar to, so we have some overlapping identities. So I'm also first gen, come from an immigrant household, and education was something that was for a lack of a better words, highly encouraged, something that was really instilled in our perception of the American dream. When I was in high school, I had good counselors, good college counselors. My perception of college looked very different. I thought it was more limited than what it actually was. But when I started college, I went to Cal State Dominguez Hills, and I graduated with my bachelor's in human services. So it was a helping profession. The people that I gravitated towards the most during my time in undergrad were my advisors, were people that went through the same counseling program that I went through. So I started thinking the people that I feel most comfortable with, the people that really make me feel like I have a home on campus, went to the same program that I ended up attending in grad school, just genuinely seem like they want to help and want to support. So I knew that was something that I wanted to do for someone else too. So give back what I received, which I completely understand that was not always the experience for a lot of my other friends and classmates, that they didn't always have the best experiences. And so I wanted to be the one that provided as much support as possible for students. Another big reason why I started considering counseling was my brother. My brother started attending college at Cal Poly Pomona, and then transferred to Santa Monica College, and then attended a couple of other community colleges afterwards. But the classes he took at Santa Monica, at the other community colleges, really helped him discover what he was passionate about. And so there's so much opportunity at PCC, at other community colleges, and I know that if that happened for my brother, it happens for other students as well. And so there's so much opportunity, and so I wanted to be a part of that movement for other students.
Well said, Mari Joanna. Especially, go back to Joanna, especially, hard to follow, especially everything you just said. Was fire, he lost track of the words that Joanna said. He did give it. All right, take it fine. He's our cheerleader. Anywho, Fire making music track in his pockets. All right. Anyway, Mari Joanna, your second topic is EOPS, which by the way, me, Mari Joanna, we both repping EOPS, which we're matching on the third grade episode of Get Responses, season 4. And now, your fourth question is, can you tell our podcast viewers how can both you learn about EOPS and gain hired by the program? I'll start with you, Joanna.
Okay. And how did we hear about EOPS?
Yeah, how did both you learn about EOPS and get hired by the program?
Okay, that's a good question.
Okay, I will. Sorry, I apologize, Joanna.
No worries. Okay, yes. So EOPS, how did I hear about it? Well, when I came here, so it kind of goes back to like just I knew because there was EOP programs when I went to college, and so that's kind of where I got my start of like just support programs. And I think I learned about it when I was working like with high school students and they were applying to different colleges. I was part of, I mentioned earlier, like UCI's early academic outreach program, and so I would reach out or tell them about other programs that they can do when they transfer out or do. And so EOPS, that's kind of where it stemmed from. Like I had a basis of it, and then when I started here as a success coach, I had the opportunity to be the EOPS success coach, and that's where I kind of got to know everything about EOPS, foster youth, how they support, and all the different just services they were able to provide. And I think for me, that's why I kind of I'm grateful that I was able to stay as a success coach for like the 2 years. So like one with EOPS and then foster youth. So then I was able to kind of get more knowledge of both different programs that we serve. And for me, I think that was kind of like my opening. And then EOPS, it was just as a counselor, it was more like an opportunity that, that came out. And, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And it was more just like, we had the opportunity. I took the chance, to, put in like the application and everything. And then everything worked out, which is what I'm really grateful for, because I think it's helped me transition from grad school to getting that knowledge as a counselor. And I'm very grateful because I think that's what's going to help me continue, being and building myself as a counselor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our hiring processes as counselors look, I think, very similar. Mm-hmm. When we applied to be counselors, we were doing that together.
Yeah.
And so we, so similar. So my second year, I was an EOPS success coach, and then transitioned over once the application process happened. And super grateful. There are like no words to describe how much I owe to the program and the students and our staff and our faculty. I learned about EOPS during my first year of college. I had a friend so I was at Dominguez Hills. I had a friend that was attending one of the community colleges that was closest to where we live. And she was saying that she had so much support, was able to meet with a counselor multiple times, which was interesting because counseling appointments for us at Dominguez was a little bit harder to come across. It wasn't like you could schedule an appointment like every week, for instance. But with her, it was a lot more intimate. The support was a lot more available. And she would mention like the vouchers and the financial support and having access to different like laptops and technology devices. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, that is a support program that will like really sees you as more than a student, but as a person. And that's something that I like brought up before, but genuinely truly believe that like beyond being students, like how we can support you is hopefully in different areas too, holistically. yeah, so I learned about it through a friend, and then during grad school, the different coaching positions that we would be notified of, EOPS was one of the ones that would come up a lot. And my brother, his first year of college was a part of EOP, and so I also learned about EOPS vaguely when he transitioned to the community colleges. So yeah, it was a lot of word of mouth too.
Okay, so when I came here first, like anything that has to do with counseling, I avoided. I know it's weird, but how would you guys what would you tell students like arriving to PCC to come to EOPS and like visit a counselor? Because it's like, oh yeah, go see a counselor, and it's like, ooh, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's daunting for some people. So like, what would you guys say to them so they can like feel more comfortable coming to you guys?
That's a good question.
These are really good questions.
So she's the queen of questions.
I would start off by like completely agreeing. Meeting with a counselor can be very intimidating, even like not being sure what to ask or how to approach certain topics, or if you bring something up, like what if they tell you something completely different. So it can be very scary. So I think first acknowledging that like this is your first counseling appointment, and if you don't know what to ask, that's completely okay. Like we'll get to know you. So before jumping into like, right, what classes you need, where you want to transfer, getting to know you, what your interests are, and you'll meet with counselors that will fit like your personality style too. So some of our counselors are like more extroverted, others are a little bit more introverted. So you can see which, like, what energy really matches yours, and coming in with as much of an open mind as possible, and being open to receiving information and giving as much information as you feel comfortable. That is what I would start with.
Yeah, I think, Mari explained it beautifully. Yeah, I think, I think acknowledging that when you hear counseling, it might seem intimidating, especially if you're a first year, or even if you're a continuing student, it can seem like a lot, right? And so I think something like what Mari shared, it's like we're here as a resource, right? So our end goal is to try to help you in your goal, right? And we also understand like students' goals can change, right? Maybe they want to do something one year, but want to do something the next semester. And so we're here more like just to guide you through that, to make sure you reach your goal, whether that's transferring, just getting a certificate, or just taking courses to help you grow. And so I think also what Mari mentioned, like, counselors, we're all very different personality wise. And so like I think one good thing about having so many counselors here on campus is that I'm sure you'll find a counselor that, suits kind of your personality, suits your needs. And it's also great that a lot of the programs on campus have their own specific counselors, like EOPS, where you can have you'll be able to see that same counselor again. And so I think that's why I encourage students, if they can do EOPS or another special program that has their own counselors, that way you have built rapport with that counselor too. And so I think as counselors, we're here to not only like academics, but beyond academics, it's just building that rapport, so that way you don't feel like alone in just going through college, because we understand it can be a lot. Like, we were both students once, and we're navigating those systems. So we're here as a resource and to help you grow and to reach your goals.
That's so nice. Thank you.
Yeah, very nice. Beautiful said, Mari Joanna. And since we're on the topic of EOPS now, our main question is, what you guys do at EOPS in helping students?
That's a good question too. So we provide academic counseling, career counseling. We have counselors that are either certified to handle like very specific career conversations, and counselors that are working on getting those certifications. So we can definitely support with that. So apart from the academic support and career support, like we've been mentioning, financial support. So that's where our vouchers come in, our vendor cards. If any EOPS student has any expenses outside of what the vouchers can cover, and any direct support we can provide, we can work with the students directly to see how we can fill in those gaps. And so, financial support, connecting you with different resources on campus. So if you need to have a conversation with admissions and records, financial aid, if you want to be connected to other programs on campus, we can help facilitate those conversations. We have a bunch of events and workshops and campus tours we take. Campus tour, all of those we promote through our Canvas, our campus shell. But there's just so much. I feel like we could go on and on about how much support EOPS provides academically, financially, personally, socially.
Yeah. And workshops. So we offer workshops for students. I think we recently offered like a financial literacy, like how to budget, how to save. We have like time management workshops, self-care workshops. So we also try to do workshops that encompass academics, financial, also self-care. And I think also just having success coaches too is another big part of our program. So I know sometimes it can be intimidating to maybe talk to counselors. So we have success coaches who are current graduate students, right? So there are students just like our PCC students. So they are more than happy to also connect with y'all. And so I think just having those different avenues for students.
And like okay, so the researchers are great, but how do you guys personally connect with students and build that relationship with them? Because it's like you guys see so many students, right? Like, how do you guys make them feel like, yeah, you guys are not just like a student passing by. You guys are like, we're here for you, really, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
That's a good question. I like to start off my appointments before jumping into like technical questions about classes and all of that. Just how's your day? How's your week? How's your semester? How are you doing? And depending on the response to that question, the appointment could go in so many different directions. And I think that's what's really great about our program and how flexible scheduling can be, is if we don't cover all of the questions about like your education plan during our first appointment, we'll do it during the follow-up. So I would definitely say like asking those personal how are you doing questions is very, very key. I think we're both very detailed with our notes. And so if it's a student that we've met with in the past that maybe mentioned, for me, one of the initial questions I would ask would be like what do you do for fun, like on your free time? And then remembering that and then bringing that up. So there's one student that comes to mind that would, one of the ways that she would de-stress would be to run. And then during finals week and as a semester progressed, she wouldn't run. And then that was something that I would bring up during every appointment. Like, are you running? Like how are you taking care of yourself? So trying to remember things that we might not always see as like super impactful or super important, but definitely are when you bring it up again and you're like, oh, you're listening to me like that, like you care. So definitely like keeping that in mind when students share personal things and bringing it up again.
Yeah, I agree with Mari. Definitely starting off with like checking in question, like how are you doing, like, you know, or an icebreaker question. I think that helps break the ice, especially if it's your first time meeting a student. Like they're like, oh, I don't know this counselor, but just even that check-in question, I feel like can mean a lot for students. Oh, like, oh, you want to know how my day is going, like, and so I think for us it's very important to start with that. And also like what Mari shared, like because we meet with so many students, I think I try to remember something personable for each student I meet, even if it's a small thing, so that way next time we meet each other I'm like, oh, and so like I have like a notepad, I'm like, okay, the student shared this about this, and that way I can bring it up next time we meet each other. Also I think a big important thing is just letting students know about just different resources and also learn how to like advocate for themselves is I think a big thing. So a lot of our meetings might entail like following up with either the student, following up with maybe like a campus rep. So whatever it is, it's also kind of bringing them into the conversation. So like if I'm reaching out to like a campus rep, CCing that student in the email, like you're gonna be in the thread too, you know, or letting them know this is where you find the email to this, you know, instructor. So just helping them through everything. I do a lot of like follow-up like emails after my meeting, like it was really nice to meet you today, like this is kind of things we discussed, and then anything I shared I attached to that email, and then I always send it off with saying, you know, let me know if you have any questions. And so I think for that's how I'm able to build rapport, just letting them know that I'm here to help them.
Nice. All right. Now, since you guys make the workshops, is there upcoming events you guys want to announce, especially EOPS, here exclusively on Gary's podcast, Mari Joanna?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Well, our upcoming one, we're going to have a time management workshop on this upcoming Monday. So March 23rd. And then that's going to be in the U building, U204, 12 to 1:30. So yeah, if anyone, wants to stop by your EOPS, we're going to be having some boba for our attendees. So it's a cool way to, just cool from the hot weather. And then apart from that, I also want to just raise awareness for foster care awareness. So that's going to be coming up during May. May is Foster Care Awareness Month. So we have some upcoming workshops, which I do have here because there's 3. So we're going to be having our kickoff. So that's going to be Tuesday, May 5th to kick off Foster Care Awareness Month. During this month, we're also going to be having banners around campus with foster youth students who are graduating in their cap and gown to celebrate them. And then we're also going to be having a resource fair for our foster youth students, but it's open to everyone. And that's going to be May 12th, Tuesday, May 12th. And then for anyone on campus, students, staff, faculty who want to be part of or be an ally for our foster youth students, we're going to have a foster youth ally training. That's going to be on Thursday, May 18th. But yeah, I encourage and welcome anyone that is, just here on campus to stop by and really support our students during Foster Care Awareness Month too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
go ahead, Mari.
really quick. So our coaches usually host previously, last semester it was coffee with coaches once a month. This last month they had paletas with coaches. This next Friday, March 27th, they're going to have cookies with coaches. Next month is also paletas with coaches. So we have a bunch of community building workshops coming up. The same week of our time management, no, sorry, not the same week, the following week. So the first week of April, Thursday, April 2nd, I believe, April 2nd, we're going to have a game night. So it'll be facilitated by one of our coaches and myself. We're going to have Mario Kart. We're going to have Uno, No Mercy.
No mercy.
That one's intense. And then left, center, right. So we're going to have game night. We have campus tours. We try to have them at least once a month or up to 3 times a semester. So our next one should be to USC, and then our final one should be to UCI. Anytime we have events and workshops, we post them primarily through Canvas. So we encourage students to have their notifications turned on and then see when our next workshops are.
Nice. Fire on USC. All right. You can ask for Miss Mitchell, or should we get to the last question?
Well, here's my last question. How are you? How was your day? Now I'm curious. How was your day?
Oh, that's a sweet question.
I know it is.
My day was good. My day was really, really good. I had breakfast, which was really good. I had breakfast. I had a little bit of lunch. I had appointments today before coming here that were very, very informative, we talked about really good topics, and so that was really, really fulfilling. And yeah, I think today's been a really good day, apart from the heat. Once I stepped foot outside of the office, it just hit me. But yeah, it's been good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
My day has been good too. I feel like, I don't know, it's Friday fun day. Today's, the end of the week. But I think I love the sun. So I feel like it's been cold. So I think the sun is nice, although it is hot. But, it seems like a really nice pool day, beach day, weekend. But today my day has been good. It's been light. I'm with students too. And I don't know. I feel like I haven't been here because last Friday campus was closed. Well, our offices were closed. So I'm like, because I'm only here Mondays and Fridays. So I'm seeing my Friday crew again after 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm catching up with, just my Friday crew.
Nice. The Friday crew with Mari Joanna. All right, Mari Joanna, I want to ask you this quick question. The last question, what's one thing you wish you were better at? I'll start with Joanna again, Mike.
One thing we can repeat the question.
I'll repeat the question. Sorry, I'll repeat the question again. What's one thing you wish were good? I'll repeat it. What's one thing you wish you were better at?
Better at?
Yeah, better at.
This is a good question. As that like in general?
Yeah, in general,
Ooh. Ooh.
as you guys in the hot seat keeping it simple.
Come on, let me think. What do I wear? Oh, I think this year, I think I'll go back to my goal for this year. So my goal for this year was to read one book every month. So by the end of the year, read 12. I'm still finishing up my February book. So I think for me, one thing I want to be better at is making sure I'm accountable. I think that's something I wanted to do for me. I think self-care, that's something I wanted to add into my self-care routine. So I think I need to follow what I added to my self-care. So I think just becoming better at making sure I stay on track with reading my books and taking time to just sit down and read, even if it's like 10 pages a day. So I think that's something I want to be better at.
I'm thinking about mine. Because there's a couple of things that come to mind. Similar, one of my New Year's resolutions was to, just a little bit of context. I during the end of last year, I created like stamp cards for my resolutions. And so one of the resolutions that I wish I was better at this year, or so far, the year just started, so
Right.
was to bike 100 miles. So I had drawn like 10 bicycles that have like 10 miles each. And so I've only biked 10 miles once. And so I wish I was better at like keeping that goal accountable. My intention was to bike 10 miles every month, and I haven't done that since January.
Wow.
So I'm like 2 months behind. I'm like 2 months behind. So I wish I was better at like keeping that commitment. I'm assuming it's going to pick up during summer. But I wish I was biking more. So I wish I was better at it.
Well,
Yeah.
the year is young, so.
Yes.
Yeah, you're All right, on that note, Mari Joanna, I want to thank you for having you on David's podcast, especially the first time. And this was so much fun, especially having booked you, especially while we were working EOPS. And this was amazing, especially my favorite EOPS counselor, especially Nayi Garcia, Ria, and including Dr. Morris, and entire counselor. So, ladies, this was a blast.
Thank
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
Yes.
You guys are so sweet. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you guys are very sweet. And finally, he also agrees too. Yeah, Mari Joanna, you guys are also sweet. And thank you for joining us on this podcast. Yes, a friends could talk on this podcast. Right, David? Yes, you could talk. Please talk, especially like yourself. And while Ricky Jury gave you watching back. Hang on, Ricky Jury gave you. It's okay. We will just say in the comments. All right. Everyone, I want to thank you for watching this episode of David's podcast, and we will talk to you next Friday. And everyone, stay hydrated, stay cool, and we're out of here. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Oh, that was fun.